Hello everybody, it's Anna here again today, and today we are at ELISEGS PILLAR here in Llangollen in North Wales, and I'm going to be telling you a little bit about the history and significance of this very important pillar. So come along and join us. You're very welcome, and don't forget, welcome in Welsh is croeso. So yes, we're going to be unpicking the mysteries of this early Christian cross, which was put up in the first half of the 9th century in a prominent position on a Bronze Age burial cairn. And all that remains of this cross now is the rounded lower shaft. The inscription that decorates the pillar is weathered and unreadable today, but we do know that this modest monument tells an epic story about Wales's former rulers. Want to mention as well that this is Britain's longest early medieval Latin inscription on a monument, a historical document and an archaeological monument together. And it is a monument raised by an early Christian king honouring his grandfather. One phrase on the inscription includes the names of successive rulers of the Kingdom of Powys during the 8th and 9th centuries, and another reveals that the cross was erected by Llangollen in memory of his great-grandfather Eliseg, who was said to have expelled the Anglo-Saxon English from this part of Wales. It's thought that the carefully composed inscription, which does include legal terminology, was intended to be read aloud, to be proclaimed to an audience. So could this be where the ancient rulers of Powys were appointed? Is it a victory monument declaring political ownership of land won back from the English, or vital propaganda at a time when the kingdom was under threat? Or maybe all of these things? The nearby Abbey of Valley Crucis, as it's known in English, the Valley of the Cross, took its name from this pillar, and families of the rulers of Northern Powys were buried at the nearby Abbey Church. This pillar of Eliseg has been standing here for more than 1,000 years and was once a blunt statement of royal authority. An inscription recounted the family tree of the kings of Powys back to their beginnings, and Llangollen was the king who set up the pillar in the 9th century, like I said, in honour of his great-grandfather Eliseg, and its purpose was to broadcast Powys' independence in defiance of English aggression from across the borders. The pillar proclaimed Llangollen's right to rule by the strength of his bloodline back to the Roman Emperor Magnus Maximus. And we can't read it today, but a copy was made in the 17th century. The pillar was topped by a cross and stands on a mound whose origins date back to the early Bronze Age, at least 4,000 years ago. Llangollen claims authority from the church and heaven above, but his heritage was plugged into a source of power from the land itself, with deep roots both ancient and mysterious. So the text claiming land and power could be not only an expression of faith and royal power, but perhaps also located as an assembly site, and possibly also the only royal inauguration site for the Welsh princes that we have surviving. So it's not only for Welsh significance, but also to understand the rivalries between these medieval kingdoms. It is a monument intended to project out the message to a wide audience by being placed in such a prominent location. It was placed on a mound, a platform for proclamation and performance. it was like a borderland monument, and it's now a scheduled monument. It was intended to be engaged with, and it was on a major artery of communications, an historic route in early medieval times, an area of immense activity. Between 2010 and 2012, Bangor and Chester universities conducted 3 seasons of excavation to reveal the mound and see what was under there, because no work had ever been done before on this nationally and internationally early Christian monument. So it is unique, and they wanted to explore what was under the mound. And they discovered that the mound is a classic example of a North Walian multi-phased curved cairn that dates to the early Bronze Age. So it's thousands of years older than the Middle Ages, and it has been preserved so well because in the 9th century someone put this cross on it. So it's had a new lease of life in a way by becoming a platform for an early Christian cross. And they did find cremated human remains in a stone box which dated back to the early Bronze Age. So these excavations taken by the universities back then proved that this was a prehistoric curved cairn, and some of the evidence they found was a bone pin and a flint blade. So this was a Christian monument honouring the princes of Powys, and a monument that is of powerful statement of faith. So that's it for today. We'll leave you there at ELISEGS PILLAR in Llangollen in North Wales, and we'll say ta-ta for now, and we'll see you on the next adventure, or the next Welsh lesson, or the next Welsh history lesson. Don't forget to keep practicing your Welsh, because practice makes perfect. Ta-ta for now. Nos da.